everyone, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for a Kitaholic Kits design team layout. Now the layout I am starting with today is actually a scrap lift by the fabulous Natalie D'Souza. Now the reason why I was inspired to use this scrap lift is it was actually shared in just a Happy Scrappy Facebook group as I guess sort of a motivational challenge for you to just have a go at if you like. And I really loved it. I thought it was absolutely stunning. In fact, I had actually shared a very similar layout that didn't have a creator's watermark, so I wasn't sure who it was by, as a layout that I wanted to work on already. So once I saw this other one by Natalie D'Souza, I was like, yes, I am definitely going to get in there and give this a go. So I cheated a little bit and actually designed a cut file to create this layout, just so then I knew the circles would be perfect and I knew the stitching holes would be perfect, and it would certainly make life a lot easier. So I cut my first circle and did stitching holes on the outside of the circle, and then I cut my next 3 circles and did stitching holes on the inside of the circle. So there's sort of that brownie mustard color that has been glued flat to a full 12 by 12. And that's the first pop of color that you can sort of see showing through that largest circle. And the idea is that I'm going to cut out the image of my husband and I and mat it on that white circle, but the original cut that I did on my silhouette was not quite right, and it was like too close around our heads and didn't have enough sort of space, so it looked a bit funny. So I'm going to reprint that and do that again. So now I'm just going to have a play with building up my clusters. So I have dug through the ephemera pack and pulled out all of the Heidi Swap ephemera that was sort of flowery leafy-ness, because I definitely want to make this sort of pretty. I'd had grand plans of when I first saw this layout that I would do sort of a boy version using my boys, but when I saw this kit, I just couldn't resist using all of those stunning colors of paper and putting them all together to create this that it is. And I just love it. I love the way it came together. That little butterfly that I popped on, I did stamp using the stamp that came in the kit and the Heidi Swap inks that came in last month's kit. So if you remember me using the inks in last month's kit, that is the same pink there, which is the perfect color match for this kit as well, of course. So I was able to pull that in again. I was really unsure how I was going to stick down that large acetate floral piece, because as we know, any kind of glue that you put on the back of acetate will show up, and I wasn't sort of hiding any of that acetate underneath anything. So I ended up just doing a big dab of glue right in the very center of the flower where the most amount of sort of gold foiling was, just to kind of disguise the glue just a little. And it will get stuck down a little bit more by these pieces of foam and bits and bobs that I'm using to stick up the rest of the cluster. Here's a few more of those stamped butterflies. I just love the way they sort of add a little bit of flutter, definitely like Natalie did in hers, but it also was just needed in this layout to just add a little bit more movement to those clusters to help sort of move your eye around the page that little bit more, instead of just having a really block of ephemera that doesn't flow. I feel like with a circle layout especially, I definitely want to have a little bit of flow and a little bit of movement happening on the page. I ended up pulling some old thickers from a past kit to go with this. This was a kit from maybe September last year, I don't even know, but quite a while back. So I just decided to pull the You and Me thickers out there because I just thought that was a really nice sort of sentiment to go with the picture of my husband and I, and just to pick up the little the little gold hearts that I've popped around the page. I also had these Heidi Swap thickers that were from a while ago now, but that I haven't even cracked open yet, that had some hearts with them, and I really wanted to add just a couple of sort of thicker hearts to the page as well. I love it when thickers include a few extra bits and bobs that you can use on your page. Not random like squiggle shapes, but shapes that are actually usable, like hearts and stars and things. Hashtags kill me. I can never use hashtags. But anyway, pulling out the Bow Bunny enamel dots, and I was umming and ahhing whether to use sort of the tealy colour, but in the end I just stick with the pink and just keep this a really monochromatic layout. It really is a very pink based layout with just a few little bits of sort of gold and things as well. So you can see how the finished layout is going to look once my photo is on, but as I said, I just want to zoom that photo out just a touch so that it's not cutting so much of my husband's face off. Adding on some gold splatters, and when we come to the close-up photos in just a second, it will be complete and I will actually have my photo on there. And I just think it's not a massive difference with the photo, but it's just enough that it's, not cutting off his chin or anything like that. And I really love the way that finished it off. Oh, I forgot to mention that I also roughed up or distressed the edge of that mustard paper before I glued it on. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this process and I have inspired you to scrap this fantastic layout as well. Thank you, everyone.